Hello everybody and welcome back to Math 7. So today we are going to be talking about congruent and similar figures. So when we're talking about congruent figures are all going to have the same size and they're all going to have the same shape. So basically congruent just means the same thing happening. So same size and same shape. So down here it tells us that triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle KLM. So that means these two triangles are the exact same. There's nothing different about them except they're just named differently. So with congruent shapes, corresponding angles are congruent, or they're the same, obviously, if they're the same shape, and corresponding sides are congruent. So the same size sides. So when we see something with congruency between these two shapes, if XYZ is congruent to KLM, that means that angle X is going to be the same as angle K. Angle Y will be the same as angle L, and angle Z will be the same as angle M. So the way that these are named up here tells us that the angles in the order that you see them are equal to the other angles in the order that you see them. So as we can see here, they've changed the order of some things, and since angle Y we said was the same as angle L, it comes first in the name. And Z is the same as angle M, so it comes second in the name. And X is the same as K, so it comes third in the name. And that works for however you decide to name them. So when you're naming them, the name of the angle will be in the same spot. So congruent sides, so if we are talking about, let me get rid of all this so I can Alright, so it's asking us to name the side that is congruent to XY. So if we're looking here, that means that this is this side here of this triangle. So that would be the same as this side here. So we're going to say that's the same as KL. We got to put a little line above it to know that we're talking about the side length. And then YZ here is the same as, looking at our shape, LM. Put a sign up above it. And if we couldn't tell, then we're looking at side YZ. So since we said these are corresponding, LM would be just like we saw down here, that side, if you only have a name and you know that they're congruent. And then side X, or YX, excuse me. So YX is the same as this one that we named earlier, but we want to name it in the order that we see it. So since we said YX here, that means we're going to call that the same as LK. You want to go from the same point to the same point. And finally, XZ here is the same as KM. Alright, so just remember that when you are saying what is congruent to what, you have to name it in the same order. So once again, if this was asking about side ZX going this way, then we would say that the congruent side is MK instead of KM. You want to go from the same point to the same point. Alright. Now angles, it tells us that the angles are congruent. So same thing, they're going to be named up above in the same order with the angles corresponding. So since we are talking about angle X here, or this guy here, we look over at our other shape and that is going to be congruent to angle K, or angle K here. So because they are the same spot in their name and also the same angle in the shape, it tells us that they're congruent with these three little bars here. Then Angle X is the same as angle K. And same thing, Y is in the same spot in the name as L. And if we look here, we've got Y and L being the same by this one bar here. So we'll say angle Y is congruent to angle L. And finally, Z is in the third spot in the name, so M is in the third spot of the name. So Z is congruent to angle M. And then also, once again, these two bars tell us that these angles are equal to each other. Alright, so that's all about congruency. Same size, same shape. So corresponding angles are equal and corresponding side lengths are equal. So now we're going to talk a little bit about similar figures. So similar is a little bit different than congruence. So what we have the same is that corresponding angles are congruent. So it is the same shape, but corresponding side lengths are not congruent anymore, but they are proportional. So similar means same exact shape, but different size. So same angles, bigger or smaller side lengths to make it a different size. The symbol for similar is kind of like congruent. So this is telling us that we have the same angles. And then congruency, we would add same shape, equal size. But for similar, we get rid of the equal sign part because it is only the same shape. Alright, so here it tells us that triangle ABC is similar to DEF. So we don't want to get confused and have, say, angle A is the same as angle F because angle A is in the same spot as angle D. So that means that angle A is similar to angle D, which they are the same angle. Angle F, well, F is in the third spot of the name, so we're going to look to the third spot in the other shape's name. So angle F is the same as angle C. And then side length CA, C to A is the same as F to D. So we are going to say FD. Angle B is the same as, well, we can see that's the right angle here. So we want to make it the right angle there. And then also B in the name is in the same spot as E in the other's name. So angle B is congruent to angle E. Then if we just continue this along, we're saying that side length AB is the same as, well, we look up at the name and we see that DE would be the side length we're looking for there for them to be similar. And finally, FE, we're going in the same order like we did with congruency, but FE right here would be the same as CB, so side length CB. Alright, and so if angle A is 47 degrees, what other angle measures 47 degrees? Well, all we got to do is look at the names up above again and see that angle A is the same as angle D. So we're going to say angle D. We could also tell by looking at the shapes because it has our angles labeled. So 47 here is A and 47 here is D, just like we said down below. So the important things here is that congruence is exactly the same. So same size, same exact shape. Angles are the same, sides are the same. And then similar is going to be same shape, so all of the angles are going to be the same, but different size. So our side lengths are going to be proportional. And we're going to talk a bit more about that proportionality and how we find missing side lengths tomorrow. So what you want to do is go ahead and complete the assignment that you see next on your Canvas module. And there's going to be no IXL, so go ahead and just complete that assignment there and get that turned in, and you are done for the day. Yep, and I think that's it. So Thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and complete that assignment, get it turned in, and I will talk to you tomorrow for a little bit more about some similar figures.